Hello, hello. Oh, wait, webcam. Hello? Hello? I'm stuck. Hang on, I forgot to check this. Uh-oh. There we go, there we go. Calibration. There we go, celebration. Ah, there we go. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Welcome into the stream. Welcome in, Skellington-tron. Hello there, P. Alexander. Hello there, background noise. Hello there, Yuku Jamari. Hello there, Ascendant Fiction. Hello there, Ben Wheeler. Hello, hello. Thank you all for joining in. Hello. Sorry I'm late. Sorry about that. But we're here. I've got some stories to read. I've got some cards to show off. I'm actually going to set up the hand cam while we're kind of here. Everyone's rolling in. If this is the most recent Cirsova issue, it also contains the Amaranth Angels prologue, which Sena also took a look at on stream. Oh, that's fun. That's fun. Okay, I'll have to look for that. I'll try and read it too, maybe. Hello, welcome in. Hello there, Nasarina. Welcome, welcome, welcome in. All right, let me see if I can set up the hand cam. I've got some trading cards to look at first before we jump into the stories. I gotta move some things around, try and get a good spot. So yeah, today I've got hot off the press new releases from Cirsova House. And so we're gonna read some. My plan is to read... Oh man, this is hard to put on. I've got one of those little doohickeys on the back of my phone that makes it kind of hard for like it to go on the stand. But I've got 3 stories. I've got the newest of the magazines, the Cirsova magazines. I've got a collection of short stories, I believe, and a novel. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure. I was trying to look over stuff beforehand. Come on, phone. Come on. There we go. Here, let me see if I can get this set up. But first we'll look at the trading cards. I got some cool trading cards. Why are you so hard to set up? Maybe I should switch it to my Snufkin case. Actually, let me go grab my Snufkin case. Hang on. I'll be right back. One moment, chat. I'll be right back. Gotta grab my own other phone case. Alright, there we go. Bum bum bum. Alright, so tell me, who in chat has heard of or read any of Cirsova's publications? They got a lot of good pulp kind of stories. Oh, my phone looks so different outside of the case. I've got like my main one I use that has one of the little pop sockets on the back, but then I found this really cute Snufkin one. Little Moomin one. Alright, this should fit better on it. Let's see here. There we go, much better. Much, much better. Alright, let's see here. Back just in time! Yes, the man himself, Alexander, welcome in. Alright, here. Come on, pop up. A little tripod set up. There we go, okay. Yep. So while I'm getting this up, how's everyone doing today? It is the weekend. It is the end of the weekend. Sunday morning for a lot of you guys, I think. A little bit later here. I guess it's actually technically a Monday. It's 12:20 right now. Let's see here. phone, what are you doing? Come on. Come on, phone. Why you act like this? Oh wait, no, I'm just dumb, never mind. Okay. There we go. It's very hot. It has gotten... We had a rain, we had a pretty good storm roll in like a week or two ago, and that was that kind of cooled things down a little bit, like slightly. And now it's back to being really hot. It tends to sit around in the wherever it sits at, like, you know, upper 80s, 90s. The reading for what it actually feels like is like always like 100 something. It'll be like, oh, it's, you know, 89 degrees, but it feels like 106, and I'm like, yep, that sounds right. Sounds about right. I might switch to my other room for the hand cam. Hang on. I think this one has it set up. Where'd it go? Or is it this one? Oh, here we go. Let's see if we make this work. Hello. Hello. Alright. If I remember right. Here, maybe I need to take it off studio mode. Oh no, where did I go? Where did I go? I'm gone. I'm a ghost in the kitchen. I'm a ghost. Oh, for some reason I'm turned off. There I am. Okay. Apparently not. Oh goodness. The hand cams tend to give me trouble. When was the last time I did a hand cam? Why does it be like this? Maybe if I... Here, give me just a moment. I'm gonna figure it out. Oh, no, wrong thing. Okay, I must remember. I've set this up before. What have I done before? I've done this before. I'm a streamer, I know these things. Gosh, I'm totally blanking. Oh no. Oh no. Maybe I should read first, then try and set up hand cam. Hello everyone, thank you for waiting and being patient. It's, the furthest it can possibly be for anyone in the world is 3:20 a.m. That's pretty close. Well, no, that's a little further away from me. Scuff of Soul, thank you. Appreciate it. I'm just like blinking. I'm like, I've done this before, right? What the heck did I do before? Surely. Oh wait, you know, I bet if I go here. That's right, there's this. Yeah? This was my birthday stream, so surely... Why doesn't it open? That's weird. It should open for me to see stuff. Maybe there's like a file removed somewhere? This is a problem. I might just take pictures of the cards instead, because I'm not sure how to fix this. Oops. But here, I'll take some pictures, and then I'll pull them up and make like a quick little slideshow or something. Here we go. There's some cute cards though. Alright, give me just a second. I'm gonna take a few pictures. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Let's see. Try to get some good lighting. What is that? Oh, yeah, that's flashing. Nice and sturdy. Man, I wanna set up the hand cam. Okay, no, okay, we're gonna read a story first. The trading cards are very cool. I will either circle back around and have to take pictures, or ideally, I'll figure out the hand cam. But we should just jump into some stories first, so I don't sit here struggling with it. We will get to it. We will get to it. If there's something that interrupts me and I can't get to it, I'll get them to you another way. You'll see them. They're cute. They're very cool. So look forward to them. All right. In the meantime, let's talk about the stories we have today. All right. So first off, we have the summer 2024 issue 19 of the Cirsova magazine of thrilling adventures and daring suspense. The Creek Tumors by Mark Oh no, it's bad names. I'm sorry. Pellegrini. Cover story by Common America's writer. Ooh, that's very cool. If you guys don't know, Common America is a indie comic that has fun, like superhero, Supergirl. It's very fun, very fun. So that's pretty cool. That's the cover story for this, so very fun. And then we also have stories. Here, let me pull it up over here so it's easier to read. Where'd it go? Here we go. Alright, so we have The Creek Tumors by Mark Pellegrini. I hope I'm saying that right. I apologize if I'm not. We have No Rooms at Kellogg Inn by Andrew Majors. We have Range of Deceit by Joseph W. Knowles. Then we have Songs of Loss and Love by Jim Brayfogle. Again, I'm sorry if I mess up the names. The Death of Robespierre. Robespierre? The Death of Robespierre by Daniel J. Oh gosh. I was looking at the stories and forgot to look at how to say people's names. I'm sorry, I'm really bad at the names. There's also Flyboy by Blake Carpenter. A Most Exquisite Specimen by J. Manfred Winchelsea? Winchelsea? And the Twilight... I'm breaking, chat, I'm breaking. These names are breaking me. I don't know how to sound them out. The Twilight Dwell... this one's not a name, this is part of the story. The Twilight Dwell... That's not even how you say it. Delve? The Twilight Delve? The Twilight... Well... The Twilight Delve Homeowners Association by Misha Barnett. That was hard. That was a hard one. I don't know why. That was a hard one. And we have Mystery in Egypt. Mystery in Egypt. Mystery in Egypt. I'm getting it all out of the way. All my fumbles are coming out of the way now before I actually get to the story. Mystery in Egyptian Blue by Jeffrey Scott Sims. Midnight Caller by J. Ishiru Finney. And Requiem for Revolver by Rika Burnton. Yes, so please understand. No, English is my only language, chat. No, I'm just dyslexic, okay? I'm just a little bit dyslexic, and names are very hard for me. But I think I will do a little bit better with the stories, hopefully. I'll do my best. I will do my best. I just didn't think about how hard it would be reading names that I forgot to glance at the names earlier to prepare. Okay, but we got it out of the way. So we get all the stuff out of the way first, and then it will be fine. Then it will be fine. So there we go. So here we go. Summer edition, summer issue of the Cirsova magazine. We'll read one of the stories from there. Also on new releases is Star Wanderers by J.D. Colwyn. I'm doing it again. J.D. Colwyn. I think. I'm sorry. Very cool cover. I like it. It's very nice. I like the colors. And the guy that's like jumping over the other guy's shoulder. And then I believe this one's a collection of short stories. And then we have A Bad Case of Death. Looks like a fun sea shanty adventure. This one's the novel. So we'll read the first chapter of this one. So that's what's on the agenda, and then hopefully I will figure out how to make the hand cam work so I can show off the cool trading cards. They've got very cool artwork on the front, and then they've got a little bit on the back. I have here one of them that's the Cosmic Courtship, which we actually have a copy of around. That I've been meaning to read for a while. And then on the back, it has the title of what the artwork is on the front, and then the author and the artist. And then this one's a little different. This one was first published in All Stories Weekly, November 24th, 1917. So it was published from November to December as a weekly thing back in the 1917. And then Cirsova brought it back into publication, which is very cool. And then it has a little description of what the story is. I won't get sidetracked on that at the moment. But these are cool little trading cards. I will show them to you. They're pretty neat. We'll get to that. But first, let's start with the magazine. So let's read probably the cover story. Cover story would be fun. Let's see. Skeletintron says, I really like how the Common American team kept getting better at writing. It's a good thing. I feel like the more you write, the better you get. I mean, I guess sometimes. Maybe sometimes if you don't try, then if you write more, you get worse if you give up. But usually I feel like if you put effort into something, the longer you do that, the better you get. So, I think I've read the first issue of Common America. I enjoyed it. It was fun. But now, like, this was before I really was aware of what Common Writer was. Now when I see Common, I just think of Common Writer. But Common America is also very cool. Alright, so let's see here. Oh, there's also poetry in, in the Cirsova magazine. There's My Name is John Carter, Part 18 by James Hitchings, and Comics. Amaranth Angel's Wilted Flower, written by Yav Yakov Merkin, art by Philisan Grasper. Is that the what Sena was looking at? Let's see if we can get to that. Alright, so let's see. Alright, here we go. The Creek Tumors. Let's start with this story. Here we go. Here, I'm gonna turn off the BGM to really get into it. There we go. You guys ready? You guys ready? Alright, we got all the jitters out of the way. We got all the fumbles, all the not being able to pronounce names. I have my voice, my pronunciation is sharp as I can. Okay, now we're ready. Strange and disgusting fleshy masses begin to wash up near the university. Is it a dead body, biological waste, a chemical spill, or something much worse? Dun, dun, dun. Maybe I'll have to get some water. It had been raining all last week. It was still raining. Harold couldn't remember what the university looked like without melancholy clouds hanging over its mildewed halls and brown puddles swamping its uneven sidewalks. The campus had been a gray, dismal place for years. But then again, Harold was a gray, dismal person. So he might have been projecting. Typical. It was the time of year Harold called the December Dead Zone, otherwise known as the holidays. by the more Otherwise known as the holidays by the more cheerfully employed. Finals were over and the students had dispersed, but the campus would not shut down administrative operations for still another week. Chancellors, deans, and professors had all taken flight to Tahini or Malane until the new year, leaving behind only the bottommost scraplings of the working class to slosh around in the gloomy muck for 5 meaningless days. And even then, most of those wage slaves were withdrawing banked vacation hours to spend the dead zone traveling to family gatherings in parts rural and and even then, most of those wage slaves were withdrawing banked vacation hours to spend the dead zone traveling to family gatherings in parts rural and cotton malted. But not Harold. With the campus library dark and deserted, he could sit in his cubicle and grumble as loudly as he wanted, all without soliciting the usual, "If you hate your job so much, then quit," commentary from the stackmaster, oh so proud of her PhD in library science. He could also lock the lobby doors behind him and track mud up the south stairwell without having to worry about keeping students placated or custodians mollified. The December Dead Zone was a holiday, all right, a holiday for, oh gosh, I don't know this one. Misanthropes. Misanthropes. I think is how you say that. Harold spiked his dripping umbrella on the carpet after a significant battle with its rusted hinges. He'd buy a new one when he could afford it. Clocking in, he thought about the last time he'd gotten a raise, gauging whether that was before or after his last chin hair had turned gray. Before. The university had been in dire financial straits for practically his whole tenure. Lower enrollment had led to budget cuts, and those budget cuts had led to lower enrollment. The death spiral, as the eggheads in economics and finance had called it, while somehow pulling annual pay increases for themselves amid such trying times. Even during the peak fall and spring semesters, the campus was practically a ghost town. The dormitories, currently shuttered, sh- uh, shuttered until New Year, were never more than half full while classes were in session, and the last frat house had closed its puke-stained doors a decade ago, party animals having gravitated to the northwest where the universities could afford football teams. Harold didn't miss the students, but he sure missed their tuition dollars. But things were but things were but things were bad all over. The medical school a few blocks north, part of the larger university system, had been the first to issue layoffs, and now aspiring surgeons sought training elsewhere, some place where they weren't expected to supply their own scalpels from home. Harold almost had pitied the patients with minor ailments who were deposited there to keep the beds free at the real hospital. But for Harold, such pangs of empathy passed quickly, and he soon distracted himself with an entertainment magazine from the periodical stacks. It was older than most of the students graduating in the spring, but it helped pass the time. By 10 o'clock, he did some work. Most of the collection in periodicals needed to be trashed, from fashion magazines to scientific journals. After the university had opened the humble computer lab 2 buildings over, the few students who were around to use the library had stopped, save for needing a quiet place to nap. The Stackmaster had canceled their subscriptions to most journals, and the open space on the third floor that housed periodicals adjacent to his cubicle alcove could be better served for ping-pong tables and beanbag chairs. Harold knew that every box of yellowed magazines he hurled to the cage in the loading dock brought him one step closer to his own inevitable layoff. So he took his time. Such pro- Such procrastination lured Harold to the coffee closet with its stained brown pot and crap, crap, cracked windows overlooking the scenic parking lot. Sipping his mug of topsoil, he had never cleaned the pot before. Wait, wait, I'm confused about this coffee pot. Topsoil meaning like, is there just like a continuous layer of coffee beans? Let's see, stained brown pot and crap caked window overlooking the scenic parking lot. Sipping his mug of topsoil, he'd never cleaned the pot before, and he wasn't about to start. I'm very. He's talking about coffee, right? Topsoil coffee? I'm pretty sure that's what he means. I've just never heard it that way. Okay. That's interesting. Interesting. Okay. Back to it. He hasn't cleaned his coffee pot, apparently. It means the coffee is thick and gross. Okay. All right, got it. I'm still hung up on the coffee pot. He hasn't cleaned it. I'm just imagining like the filter is just he never empties out the coffee grinds. It just builds into this like horrific layer of like actual topsoil. That's where my mind was stuck. All right, so he drinks terrible coffee. Got it. Because he's as dark and bitter as his soul. All right, let's see. Harold watched the relentless rain wash away the last surviving speckles of the white parking lines before forming oily rivets that flowed downhill towards Colton Creek. Colton Creek ran parallel to Union Avenue, collecting all the garbage from every building and lot along the way. And from the looks of things, it had collected some particularly interesting garbage that morning. From his little window, Harold could see Colton Creek all the way to the tunnel that plunged under the campus drive. The stone arch was engulfed in brown rapids as the creek was overflowing at its banks and bottlenecks with all the polluted runoff. Emergency vehicles, lights spiraling and flashing, had cornered off Campus Drive, and an assortment of uniformed figures were splashing around in the waist-deep surge of concentrated cancer juice. Harold squinted with interest. The police and paramedics were working together to scoop out armfuls of large, squishy things, then loading them into stretchers for disposal. Those tasked with fetching the blobs from the creek banks were dressed in attire that fell just short of hazmat suits, sans hoods, but they still looked repulsed at their duty. Whatever the lumps were, they reminded Harold of the meat scraps his family dumped in the compost heap, bloating and melding together amid so much organic slime. The dripping flesh seemed to grow more than decay. It turned his stomach to know they raised vegetables with that stuff. Shaking the memory aside, Harold figured some drunken vagrant had fallen asleep in the creek, drowned as the rain flooded it, and what was left of their half-dissolved cadaver had washed up at the university. Whew. Oh, yeah, that. Okay, yeah, I guess that's something that could have happened. All right. Um, maybe the kids at the medical school could have some fun poking at it for a few days. Harold dumped the rest of his chalky coffee and napped during his lunch break in lieu of dining on his bologna. My brain wants to say beluga. Bologna sandwich. He could tell from the flashing lights that the authorities were outside for most of the day, but Harold avoided the window as he packed boxes at the rate of one per hour. He wanted he he wanted at least to be able to put his TV dinner down after he swam home. The rain wouldn't end, and neither, it seemed, would the work week. On Tuesday and Wednesday, Harold gave Colton Creek courtesy glances, but found nothing interesting happening there anymore. The foul tide had surpassed the limits of the banks and left slithery chunks of glistening muck caked onto the outer masonry of Campus Drive's arch. The tree trunks that took root along the banks had similar globs glued to them, and Harold contemplated how any vegetation could survive on water spiked with motor oil and fertilizer seasoned with plastic cups. But such uh, compl- compl- blah, 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 contemplations proved less interesting than the battles he had with his rusty umbrella, and were barely more invigorating than boxing up half disintegrated magazines. So by 5 o'clock he had forgotten all about them. Thursday was a different animal. A minute after he had defeated his umbrella, but 5 minutes before he had to clock in, the phone in his cubicle rang. It was Jake in facilities, reminding him that for Thursday and Friday the university would be shutting off power to all non-essential rooms on campus. There was no sense paying for lights, phones, and havoc in every room in every building if fewer than a dozen people would be working those final 2 days. Harold took it as a subtle jab from the VC of finance, mocking anyone stupid enough not to abandon ship for the break early. But he knew the joke would ultimately be on them. He'd been saving his banked holiday hours for a decade. The instant he heard the rustle of pink slips, he'd cut out for a 6-month paid vacation, all on the university's dime. Besides, with everything dark in the library but his desk lamp and the stairwells, it wasn't like he could do any work for the rest of the week, even if the vice chancellor shoved a pistol in his ear. There was enough light from his cubicle to illuminate the coffee closet down the hall, and as Harold poured himself a hot mug of bitter brown swill, he was reminded of Colton Creek. Wiping condensation from the yellowed window, he took a peek to see if anything gross had come slopping out. His curiosity was rewarded. Large, soggy masses were beached on the bank of the creek, Some were wedged in the tunnel, some were stranded half submerged in the flooding sickness, while still others had made it 6 feet from the bank. Those melting piles in particular had left behind a glimmering slime trail, like the path of a garden slug, leading from the water to their ultimate resting place. The gooey sludge of half-melted homeless persons Harold deducted was likely what kept the other clumps adhered in place despite the sewer's rapids trying their best to dislodge them. More of the tiny globs from the previous day were scattered about, some even higher up the tree trunks than before. It looked like some had ex- expedited loogies the size of golf balls and cleared some serious distance. Harold squinted a bit more, but from his vantage point he couldn't make out any greater details of the murky mass. Even so, he'd seen enough to set his coffee down and never pick it up again. He'd also seen enough to call the police and report that more dead hobos had washed up with the rest of the sewer trash. He didn't word it like that, though. Going to the nearest phone, the general line in the hallway, he found the receiver dead and remembered what Jake had told him that morning. Oh, no power. Dun dun dun. Harold considered not bothering at that point. Maybe if the bodies festered in the soup until New Year, the biohazard would delay the reopening of campus. But since he was heading back to his cubicle anyway, he put in a call on the operational desk phone. Accountability rolled downhill at the university. He didn't want to be held responsible for failing to report a bunch of dead bodies and wind up terminated before his 6-month vacation. Harold lingered in the gloomy lobby for 2 hours before the cops finally came knocking. He had tried to pass the time with a magazine, but the gray rays from the outside weren't luminous enough, and so he mostly spent the time seething impatiently. The 2 officers, clad in ponchos and those silly shower caps over their hats, weren't in friendlier moods, telling him that the bodies had washed away before they'd arrived. Harold wanted to throw up, maybe if you'd gotten here sooner, at them, but he knew better than to bruise the egos of police. They warned him not to go near the creek, as they'd found fragments of human remains and would send a crew by later to clean them up. They'd also check down the stream to see if the larger remains had washed up in any of the usual places. Good, Harold growled, and both parties excused themselves from the conversation without thanking the other. Harold grumbled at the police's lack of decorum, but took a quiet satisfaction in knowing that at least he was dry. Locking the lobby door, he thought he heard the cops chattering over the rainfall, muttering that they weren't sure if the remains they'd collected were even human. His contempt for authority compounded. Not only were the cops rude, but they were stupid too. Harold did nothing for the rest of the day except wish that Friday would hurry up and get there and then hurry up and leave. Without Hadvac, the library's mildew smell was completely untamed amidst so much humidity. There was another smell, like dead critters in the walls, and he seriously considered using some banked hours to skip Friday entirely. I wonder if he's going to regret that decision. What's going to happen on Friday? It's all building up. But when Friday arrived, Harold went to work. He wasn't going to waste 8 vacation hours on a work day that was virtually a vacation in itself. And that working vacation began with his umbrella snapping at the hinges as soon as he opened it in the parking lot. The rain assaulted him like a fire hose, and he was soaked in his underwear by the time he made it through the lobby doors. Some vacation. The moldy guts in the walls had spent a muggy night hot housing, and the odor in the library was thick enough to chew. Ew. Harold hurriedly stuffed his broken parasol in the nearest trash barrel and rushed to the south stairwell, catching glimpses of glistening chunks scattered along the carpet and the front desk from the corner of his eye. Ooh. He likewise hurried 2 steps at a time up the stairs, passing by the slimy globs that traveled in long, slow trails down the concrete walls. The mold had grown bigger and fouler during the moist incubation period, and now the gaps in the walls could no longer contain their noxious bulk. Or that was what intuition, uh, Harold intued in the margins of his attention span. His mental focus was primarily fixated on the can of air freshener and the roll of paper towels in the coffee closet, both of which he'd need in ample supply if he was to survive this final Friday. Dun, dun, dun. By the time Harold had gotten the contents of his pockets set on his desk to drip dry, toweled himself from soaked to damp, and aerosol sprayed the alcove until it smelled like a chemist's interpretation of an alpine spring. He'd forgotten all about the sludge balls he'd barely noticed to begin with. If there was a mess, the custodians could sort it out in January. All that remained was to persevere until 5 o'clock. He's so close. But will he make it? Determined to relax in his carefree solitude, Harold put his shoeless feet up on his desk and a concealing paper towel over his waterlogged wallet and keys, just to be safe. Carefree relaxation got old quickly, and Harold was soon back to his squirmy socks, headed towards the coffee closet. From the window he made another survey of Coulter Creek. I did not spot any of those sloppy people fragments, although traces of them were evident. Wide uphill paths had been carved from the creek's turbulent perimeter, flattening the grass before vanishing on the parking lot asphalt. It was as if someone had hurled heavy potato sacks out of the water and dragged them across the muddy weeds. Or, more likely, some of the bodies had resurfaced along the creek overnight, and the cops had spent the graveyard shift cleaning them up. Harold smirked into his steamy mug and hoped it had been the roof cops he had wasted his time with yesterday. Harold took a deep whiff of his coffee stream. Coffee steam to complement the pleasant thought with a pleasant odor. All that met his nostril was an oppressive scent of air freshener and the faint stink of a back alley butcher shop. Ooh. Gagging, he abandoned the alcove in search of some wider space where the gathering stench might have more elbow room to decompress. Whatever. It still smelled better than his family farm. He was halfway through the stacks in periodicals when he heard it. A shuffling, squirming sound, far heavier and damper than the similar tune being sung by the socks. By a similar tune being sung by his socks. Harold paused. At first, the noise stopped at the same instant he did, and Harold began to write it off as an echo. But a heartbeat later, he heard it again. Something squelching, sloshing, and getting closer. It was coming from the furthest corner near the water fountain, where the dreary gray light from the water windows couldn't reach. Harold fired up his imagination, projecting excuses into the darkness. It must have been a collapsed ceiling tile, soaked through by a leak from the roof. Now mushy chunks were plopping down from above in noisome splats at a steady rhythm. It had happened so many times before that he had so frequently had to clean them up. A janitor's job. Harold nodded at the picture, visible only in his mind's eye. his stamps of approval. Crash! The furthest bookshelf wobbled. The shock under the violent assault of something that sounded very wet. The still frame of the soaked ceiling tile changed to that of a drunk vagrant stumbling around in the dark with a dripping, festering knapsack. There was another crash, and the second furthest shelf trembled so fiercely that the dusty journals all came spilling from its bookends. That was enough for Harold. He fled into the fluorescent haven of the south stairwell, filling his panicked lungs with the noxious oxygen that was getting thicker every second. Oof, my eyes. I need a second. Trying not to. Whoa. I don't want to drink coffee because I need to sleep later tonight. But whew, I need little breaks to keep myself up. Oh. Hi, Minna. First time watching your streams. It's so sweet of you reading your fans' stories, giving out that mommy energy. It was very nice of Cirsova to send me their newest releases. So, hey, it's a win-win. I get to promote some cool stuff, and I get free content to use. So it's great. It's awesome. Pretty good. You know what? I think if because it is one. If I'm not able to hang on through the stream, I think what I might do is do a pre-recorded reading of a couple of the stories, the other ones I plan to do, because it's a little rough right now. Oh, my eyes. I think there was like at least a paragraph that I don't remember. I was reading it and then I was like, oh no, my eyes. Sorry, need to refresh a second. But that was another thought I had, since sometimes it's hard to fit in the time to stream. I was thinking of I'll probably take some of these stories and do just a recorded video of me reading them as a way to help promote them and share the stories. But thank you. Welcome into the stream. I'm glad you can make it. It's always fun seeing new people around here. All right. Whew. So now, here we are. All the little creepy things are sneaking up on him. What's gonna happen? All right, let's see. Let's see, where was I? There was a crash. There's a drunken vagrant stumbling around. All right, let's see. All right, now he's panicking. All right, careless in his alarm, he slipped on the first step and skidded down 12 slimy bumps to the landing between the second and third floors. His hand had found the railing halfway, but its oily surface offered nothing in way of breaking. Settling on the landing, Harold held his hand up to see why it was dripping. His palm was coated in a thick slurry of pink and peach sludge that reeked like potsipoyon from a landfill. I think that's how you say it. Potpourri. The same goop was pooling all over the steps and drizzling in steady cascades down the walls, and it brought chunks with it from the gaps in the ceiling tiles and the cracks in the concrete. Those chunks were the glistening things he had glimpsed and ignored before, but Harold wasn't ignoring them now. One of them wriggled as it oozed along the molted concrete surface, its nostrils flaring. The small fleshy sac that tapered from the cartilage between those nostrils was inflating and deflating in rapid pumps. It was a nose, and it was sniffing. Ooh. Gotta take Doggo for her lunch walk, but I'll catch up on the VOD. Enjoy the nice walk. Hopefully you can enjoy some more stories later. Hopefully I'm doing them justice. Let's see. All right, now the sludge is sniffing. That's great. That's a development. Harold scooted away across the landing, his hands sliding along the slick tiles until his fingers caressed something plump and stringy. With a jerking recoil, he looked at the floor. The floor looked back at him. There were eyeballs as big as plums scattered along the landing, their retinae lashing and splashing in the reddish pools like the tails of tadpoles. In precise synchronization, the half-dozen oculars spun and positioned themselves to focus on Harold's face, and then their pupils contracted to make sure they got a very good look. Harold screamed. He hadn't done that since he was 6 and rode his dad's combine harvester for the first time. His throat bruised and scraped itself raw, unaccustomed to such a workout. This guy really doesn't talk much, does he? The shriek ended on a raspy, phlegmy finish, and the slime heard every note of it, because among the things traveling down the walls were ears, fastened onto spirals of meat that looked like snail shells, but were bloated uh, cochelles. Coachella, Coachella, Co- Coachella, Coachella. They smelled him, and they saw him, and they heard him, and now something was coming for him. Because as soon as the bloody taste of his bad scream had settled on his tongue, he heard the third floor door come slamming open. Whatever was coming was hefty and powerful. He could hear the door's metal bar crumpling like a beer can beneath a ton of wet cement. Harold slid on his rear down the next 12 steps until he reached the second floor. Fighting the bar in the door, he pulled it open and hoisted his limp body onto its feet at the same time. He heard the heavy thing crashing down the steps onto the landing in a series of somersaulting thuds. He didn't look back, but pulled the door closed behind him and fumbled into the lightless maze of shelves that archived old textbooks. For a moment he was completely lost. His eyes hadn't adjusted from the fluorescence of the stairwell, and the darkness of archives was absolute. Harold's hands groped blindly, and he feared what moist and terrible surface he might unwittingly poke. But the echo of the stairwell door caving in to the barrage of a sticky battering ram motivated him. He got his bearings and careened into the second floor's cubicle alcove. Then he made 3 bad decisions in a row. It's not looking good for our man. Let's see what he did. Let's see. First, he tried the phone in the immediate cubicle, but it had been disconnected for the break. The stairwell door could be heard crashing off its hinges by the time he figured that out. Next, he tried the phone in the second cubicle, but it had also been disconnected. Sloppy noises could be heard navigating through archives, colliding with every shelf along the way. Lastly, he tried the phone in the third and final cubicle, but of course it was disconnected. Those sloppy noises could now be heard inside the alcove, just about to round the corner of the first cubicle. With nowhere left to go, Harold ducked into the coffee closet at the end of the hall. Like the coffee closet on his floor, the door had been removed for easy access. Unlike the coffee closet on his floor, there was no table to hide under because archives used their closet as a supply and typewriter room. The ancient typing contraption, obsolete since the retirement of card catalogs, rested on a pedestal and was cloaked in dusty black funeral shroud. Harold could hear the walls of the first cubicle rattle and quake as something blundered into it while turning the corner. Out of options, he stuffed himself inside the tarp, crouching and curling into a sitting fetal position, and doing his best to wrap around the pedestal pole. His awkward frame deformed the tarp and split the zipper, and the toes of his spongy socks stuck out from underneath. He was on his fourth bad decision now. Ooh. Harold heard it approaching like a brick in a laundry dryer. It sloshed against the cubicle walls on one side and splattered into the concrete wall on the other, preceded by a mounting stench that made him wish he could shove his socks up his nose. In a minute it was ricocheting within the frame of the closet door, and Harold clenched his eyes and held his breath as if a SWAT team had just launched a tear gas canister at him. I'm definitely gonna need some water. The bulk of the thing collided with him in a rock slide of uneven weights. The typewriter pedestal, positioned against the back wall, was able to stay upright amid the crash, and the pole absorbed the heaviest of the impressions. Harold didn't make a sound, even as his knees crushed together and his left shoulder joint popped in a very bad way. Something popped on the other side of the tarp, and a thick yellow sludge came oozing in through the split zipper seams. Ooh. Here, maybe I wonder if I change this to light mode. Maybe that'll help. Let's see here. Okay, how to change it. Leaving you guys in suspense. Dun 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 dun. Let me just check really quick. Right, I'll find it in a minute. Hopefully I gotta stay awake. I can do it. Alright. Harold held his breath and waited. Sooner than expected, but not soon enough, the lumpy mass drew away from him, splashing on the floor and sending a tide of yellow slime washing across his feet and rear. He listened and heard the mass begin to shuffle and smash its way back down the alcove, taking most of its stench with it. Harold could breathe again, at least through his mouth. He opened his eyes next and peeked through the dripping zipper seams. The alcove was lit by the stormy light that crept through the closet window, but he could catch something vanishing around the corner of the first ruined cubicle. It looked like too much skin, a mountain of it, stretched and weighted over a collection of angular things that whirled within the elastic frame. Shuffling on a slime trail, it was gone before he could see more. Harold didn't budge until he heard it waddled over the clinging metal of the stairwell door. Harold unwrapped himself from the pedestal pole and tumbled out of the tarp, plopping onto the pile of God knows what. It wasn't until he tried to push himself up from the reflecting pool that he realized he couldn't move his left arm. It had been dislocated at the shoulder, and his adrenaline subsiding. The pain was setting in. Harold wasn't particularly good with pain. The melees of his work-home-repeat routine kept him from it. As a child, he bumped and bruised himself during chores 10 times a day. Now, a blood sugar headache was enough to incapacitate him. So, when he felt the sharp and sudden jolt of a wrenched shoulder, he vomited immediately. The volume of his spew noise didn't concern him. He had a feeling the nauseating thing couldn't see or hear. How else could it have missed him? But Harold needed air, and he needed to call for help. The closet window could solve both problems. Grabbing the tape dispenser from the supply shelf, he began to wail on the small glass rectangle. He stopped before he could even put a crack in it. Oof, I gotta reset my eyes. Oh, yeah. All right, here we go. Here, maybe I'll sit in a comfier position over here. How's this? How's this? I think I do need to change the settings. Let's see, where are we? Right here? Almost at the end, probably? Bit more. Let's see. Or maybe I'll leave you guys hanging and you have to go buy the book and finish it. You gotta finish the story. Oh, I lost my spot. Wouldn't that be cruel of me? Whew. There it is. Ooh. Let's see. You know, at least get to the end of, let's see. All right, let's see. Where were we at? All right, let's see. So, this is the library. Whew. All right, so we got the tape dispenser. All right, grabbing a tape dispenser from the supply shelf because yeah, he threw up. Let's see. The volume of his sputed noise didn't concern him. He had a feeling the nauseating thing couldn't see or hear. How else could it have missed him? But Harold needed air, and he needed to call for help. The closet window could solve both problems. Grabbing a tape dispenser from the supply shelf, he began to wail on the small glass rectangle. He stopped before it could even put a crack in it. They were coming out of the creek. 3 or 4. 3 or 4 more of them, and paths of turned up mud and grass leading to the parking lot. The library meant that there had been 3 or 4 ahead of them. Harold dropped the tape dispenser and prioritized getting out over getting help. I think that's a smart move. As Harold ran, he found archives much easier to navigate with the light of the south stairwell flickering in from the broken window. He glanced at the south stairwell long enough to see small chunks on the walls and the floor, glanced back at him, twisting in his direction as if they could see and hear and smell him from afar. Ooh, oh, my eyes. Oh man, I did not have the stamina that I thought I would. All right, I want to give you a little taste of each of the stories, though. I might not be able to read as long as I wanted to. Let's see. How do I change the brightness setting real quick? There's a lot of ghoul coming after this dude, though. It's not looking good for your homeboy. The ghoul's after him. Okay, this seems a little silly. How do I change the dark mode on here? I think here. I got those little, you know, when you're like really tired and you get the little shakes? Surely there's a way to turn off. That's weird. Why can I not turn off dark mode? It's not helping. It's not helping. Um, let's see. Dun 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 dun. Where was I? Nope, this one. All right, let's see. See if we can do it. All right, so there's more coming out of the river. Oh, my eyes. Okay. I think we might need to do a new plan. I think I want to give you a little taste of the other two stories, so I'll probably read a little bit. If you want to finish this story, actually, you know what? Let me go quickly put all the links to all these books in the description. Probably should have done that before. Uh, I would love to keep reading. And I will read a little bit, but man, I my expectations of what I was capable of have not matched up with reality tonight. So, hang on a second. Where is Oh, gotta go over here. Anyway, so I'm gonna try and keep reading, but in the meantime, let me go ahead and drop all the links to these stories. Because I might not finish the story. I might leave you hanging. You might have to just go finish it yourself. You could go find a book. You go read it. It's pretty good. It's worth getting. There's lots of fun stuff in there. Here we go. All right, there's the links. Let me go drop them in the description of this video. We'll put them right there at the top. There we go. There we go. Okay. I need to do like jumping jacks or something. Actually, yeah, let me do that real quick. Let me do a couple of jumping jacks. Hoo-yah, hoo-yah. We're gonna shake it out, shake it out, shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Whew, it doesn't help that we stayed. I probably got like 3 or 4 hours of sleep since we did our super late karaoke last night. I did kind of get like a half a nap, but it wasn't much. All right. Um, let's see how much is left in this one. All right, he's stuck. They're coming for him. Let's see. Page 17. Let's see, where's the end? All right. There's still a fair bit. Still a fair bit. So, he's got to escape from there. There you go. I think I might leave you on a little cliffhanger there. I don't know, maybe we can get to another let's get to another stopping point maybe. Is there a stopping point? I'm not sure. Let's see. All right, he's got to get out of there. As Harold ran, he found archives much easier to navigate with the lights of the south stairwell flickering in from the broken doorway. He glanced at the south stairwell long enough to see the small chunks on the walls and floors glance back at him, twisting in his direction, as if they could see and hear and smell him from afar. He heard a mad flopping erupt from the depths of the staircase as the mass that had just thrown itself down those steps now initiated a ponderous reascent. But that was all right, because the thing was slow and he was halfway across the stacks already. The door to the north stairwell was in sight. Harold shoved it open with his back and spun into the stairwell on his slip, uh, slippery heels. The shaft was lit, but most importantly, it was dry. The trails of slime and uh, facial features were nowhere to be seen, meaning the fleshy things hadn't found their way to the north corner of the library yet. He scrambled his way to the first floor and yanked the door open with his working hand. The jerk motion loosened a salty yellow fluid from his scalp, and it trickled determinedly into his mouth. Luckily for Harold, the vomit on his tongue masked the worst of the taste. What's going on? A fluid on his scalp. Ooh. All right. I think we're gonna try and maybe stop there. He's trying to escape. He's safe for the moment, but they're still after him. There's a little bit of the story left, and there's plenty more great stories also in the summer 2024 issue 19. So link is in the description, guys. You can go check it out. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I wanted to give it some time to the other releases, so we're gonna leave you hanging, and we're gonna jump to another story because it's already 1:30 a.m. basically. So anyway, I like this artwork. It definitely is. It almost looks too bright in this artwork. It's pretty. It's pretty creepy in there. It's pretty dark. Anyway, there's a little introduction to the magazine. There you go. There you go. Let's see. Let's do a little bit of Star Wanderers, and then we'll do a little bit of Bad Case of Death. And then I might try and just do a quick picture of some of the trading cards to show you. All right, let's see. Oh, come here, thing. Come on. There we go. All right, let's find the start. All right, the first one is called Dead Planet Drifter. All right, let me just double check how long this one is, see if we can read it all or if we'll just get started. Give you a little taste. Probably just read into it a little bit. Oh wait, I know a good way to check. Interesting. Well, here we go. Yeah, okay. All right, let's start. We'll see. We'll see how far we can get into this one. Okay, this one is Dead Planet Drifter by J.D. Colwyn from his collection Star Wanderers. Bum bum bum. Also, let's check up with chat. Chat, how are you doing? How are you holding on? Still with me? Hello, everyone. The yawning is contagious. It's really bad. It's so bad. I'm sorry. For everyone else that just has to yawn now. I mean, it's uncontrollable. It just yawns all around. Oof. And bedtime stories make you sleepy. All right. All right. Waking myself up a little bit. Here we go. The universe exploded at the same moment the shuttle went up in flames. Shards of metal struck through Ranfield's skin as he rolled across the grass at the same moment the fiery wreck of his ship went off in the sky. Death nipped at his fading consciousness. Was this how it would end? But then the dying man woke up. The remaining scraps of the universe broke away as he sat up in the field of his village. Warm winds from the days of his youth wrapped him like a blanket as he usually like the blanket he usually wore sitting before the fireplace during winter. Children chattered. The horses clumped at the bottom of his position on the hill. Rows of gray sycamores and redwoods sat along the unpaved century road. Unpaved, unpaved country roads. They went on forever, as far as kids knew. He took a deep breath and found that the dream had ended. He was home again. Bad dream? She asked. Oh, the start was a dream. It took a moment for him to recognize the girl, the same one he had known since he was 6 years old, but slowly the memories returned as he scanned her over. Curly dark hair down ran curly dark hair ran down over the freckles on her pale face. Something about her reminded him of another life, a long lost one. Of course, such a thing was silly. They were both 9 years old. What other life was there? I don't dream, he said. He overlooked the valley from his position on the hill. The distant laughter of children reminded him that the local schoolhouse had just let out. Just waiting for Dad so we can go to the spaceport. The ships come in today. They found some Gynodoris in Sector 72. We might be able to ride them. Nah, forget about that. She waved at him to follow. Come on, I'm going to the river. The elves are playing there again. Stop it. Teacher says we're all baptized. God's children. We shouldn't play with those kinds of things. The other kids already made fun of you for talking to mice at the well that one time. You're so weird. Forget you then. I'm going on my own. My parents say it's dangerous to play alone in the forest. We don't know everything about this planet. We'll be fine. Mama says that if you catch a Juno sparrow, you get 3 wishes. I almost got one last week. Once I get one of those, we're gonna be so rich you'll wish you listened to me. Fat chance. You'll see. One day you won't be so dumb. You'll get it then. Though the boy did get older, he never felt like he got smarter. Oh, I hear a baby. Okay, let me try and get the baby back to sleep real quick. I will be right back, chat. back. Hello. Hello, I'm back. All right. All right. Let's see. So, there's a boy. He had a dream. He's just a boy. But is he? There's Faye. Faye's always a good time. Let's see where this goes. All right. You'll see. One day you won't be so dumb. You'll get it then. The boy did get older. He never felt like he got smarter. Uh, though the boy did get older, he never felt like he got smarter. Instead, like everyone else, he found focus with his life and moved on from childhood games. But whatever happened to her, he couldn't quite remember anything beyond her name or her face. It was another life, somewhere far away. Catalina, he mumbled. The word came back into view again as a swirl of black haze and muffled pounding of horse hooves settled his headache to a dull roar. All right, so that was just a flashback, I think. Maybe? Let's see. He awoke on his back, staring up into the rattling wood ceiling of what he could only determine was a wagon. His entire skeletal structure flared with jagged aches. Two men pressed his arms down against the floor. He could barely see them through the darkness of the wagon, but he could smell their stink. Was that embalming fluid? The pair of aggressors held blank expressions in their empty eyes. They weren't even looking at him. Their empty, unfocused gaze locked into his general position, but it was as if they were asleep or unconscious. Neither budged at his repeated movements to break free. They merely held him down as if that was the natural course of action. These hooligans wore shabby gray cloth over leather jerkins and torn pants, but on their backs some sort of metal pack wrapped around their shoulders and waist in tight wires. These cables pushed through their mangled clothes and into their sickly green skin, allowing a low metallic hum to break the silence of the wagon. Oh, I'm suddenly chilly. Let me get a blanket. One moment, blanket time. All right, we're good. These men had been modified. The prisoner glanced out towards the back to see two more of these guards sitting near the rear entrance. Past their looming figures, the purple-capped sky bore down on the world, and white lightning cracked through the Mavel swirl. Mavu? Malv? This world had gone mad. Rumbles of thunder masked the injured man's breaths as he tried to think of a way out of this. How much longer until we are permitted to reach the next plane? Someone asked. Two men sat at the front of the wagon, directing the horses. They wore purple cloaks and square-shaped matching hoods over their heads. Neither appeared to notice their prisoner was awake. It is not soon enough, the companion said. Minicus, Minicus Meniscus had broken the threshold. Once we return to the temple and dispose of this wanderer to the bog, we can reclaim our place in the ritual. Steel yourself. Menicus sent us because we also complete our tasks. With this anomaly out of the way, we will be rewarded greatly. I shall claim the seat at his left side. While the two robed men prattled on, the prisoner scanned the artificial men around him. Were these men part of the temple? No, these were there was something off about them. They had an aura that felt somewhat ancient. Aside from stiff breathing, they gave no impression of life. Perhaps the answer lay within the packs on their backs. His flight jacket had been taken by one of the guards at the rear of the wagon, wrapped in the corded muscles of their stiff arms. Certainly they had his weapons and communicator too, but since they didn't know who their prisoner really was, they probably hadn't taken his tools. Instead of fighting against his captors, the prisoner twisted his right leg, bent his knee towards his right hand. Sure enough, neither of the men holding him down acknowledged him. They kept their empty stares forward. This this left the injured man to struggle for his boot. He slipped open the small panel on his heel. There, the enforcer removed the small, lighter-sized black rectangle. The hum inside the EMP flasher remained low as ever, but the vibration shook fiercely as he slid it out from the safe casing of his boot. He had one shot before the flasher turned to scrap. Neither captor reached as their prisoner took the tool in his hand and pressed the jutting button on top. He flicked it forward with his wrist. The hum rumbled into a growl as it went off. He closed his eyes in time for the squeal to erupt into a scream. The flasher had burst. The AMP explosion shot across the wagon. It tore through the ceiling, tore into the fabric. The men beside Ronan flinched as the packs on their backs shorted, leaving them in seizures as they hit the wood. Staying awake, staying awake. The men at the horse bellowed in confusion. Ronan wasted no time charging towards two guards at the back. Seizures rocked the pair allowed seizures rocking the pair allowed him to crash into them. The enforcer sent the duo tumbling out of the wagon. The injured man hit the dirt in the roll with every inch of his attention on grabbing at the man with his flight jacket. His momentum carried him sideways with the oncoming road slamming at his shoulder and hips, leaving his prey just out of grasp. Oh, my eyes. I can do this. Oh. Behind him, the wagon slowed to a crawl just as he steadied himself on his chest with his elbows. He shook the dizziness away and leaped forward. A heavy weight tackled the enforcer. His assailant fell to the dirt with him, kicking up clouds of dust. Fists crashed against the former prisoner's face, and the two rolled across the ground. His robed opponent landed underneath him. He punched down once, twice, and 3 times, until his attacker's face twisted into a bloody mess. The enforcer seized him by the throat and held the enemy in his choke, wishing he had cuffs. "He is free!" the seized enemy shouted to the wagon. It had only stopped 20 yards away. "Aid me!" The enforcer swore and scanned the dirt. Behind the right wheel, he found a downed guard still clutching his jacket in full seizure. The darkened eyes stared blankly at the two fighters. The lawman slipped the torn-up flight jacket free from the guard and put it on. He found his revolver and communicator, and removing the gun as he held his attacker at an arm hold. Held his attacker in an arm hold. I think I'll leave it there. It's a fun opening. Very exciting. So, that was Star Wanderers. Again, the link is in the description if you want to pick it up. It's this story plus some other cool stories by J.D. Colwin. So there you go. All right. I want to fit in one more story. Man, it is really hard to reading this late at night. Let's see. Where is... Here we go. Bad Case of Death by Jim Brayfold. Brayfold? Hopefully I got that right. All right. This one's a chapter book. We'll read the first little bit. But, hoi, 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 hoi. Probably these streams are fun. I might do some pre-recorded content when I get a chance. Probably won't be for a bit. I will be traveling and seeing family soon. So this might possibly be the last stream for a while until I get settled. We'll see. Maybe I'll hop on for something else at some point. All right, a bad case for death. Dun-dun-dun. Edward paced along the wall, looking through the ornate iron fence at the mansion's gate inside. Becca must bring them out. She just must. Her day off wasn't for 2 weeks, which might as well be eternity. The spring made the weather chancy. He couldn't guess when there would be another day like this. He pulled his watch from his pocket and checked the time. He only dared linger a few minutes longer. Lunch would soon be over. Mr. Webley wasn't understanding of tardy workers and had no compunction about turning somebody out for the slightest cause, even if his partner, Mr. Turner, was of a different mind. Ah, but it was a glorious day. Yesterday's rain had scrubbed the soot from the airs, and today's warmth made people open their windows rather than light the fires. The sun shone brightly in the blue sky. For just for an instant he could forget the soot and noise and stench of London and pretend he was back in Cornwall. Surely Rebecca, he reminded himself, a name more befitting her employment. Surely she would bring the children outside. What could be more perfect than this bird-filled Eden, with sanctuary gold and goddesses posing in the sun? He had brought hornhound candies, not their favorite, but easily explained as cough relief should any rise raise objections. They would buy a few minutes of conversation. Oh, so he's trying to get the nanny. He's waiting outside for the nanny. Insane. He glanced once more at his watch, sighed, and slipped it back into his pocket. He must be leaving. The door burst open as if it couldn't get out of the way fast enough. 2 children, a boy and a girl, trampled down the steps, sending the birds fleeing into the sky. A young woman followed them, catching the door before it could slam shut. She dried off her with a small hand towel that she then tucked into the bulging pocket of her apron, where it draped over a pinwheel and obscured the magpie on the counter of a nursery book. I gotta stay awake. Stay awake. Edward lifted his hand, waited for her to see him, and waved once. Rebecca! Rebecca looked at the house before coming down the steps to him. Edward, she smiled quickly, as if lacking the energy for more. Today isn't a good day. Oh no. Oh, Edward said, feeling his heart sink. Well, I didn't really have time anyway. He smiled for her benefit and held out the bag of candies. Here, I brought the children some candy. They certainly don't require any,
Nor, she added, do they deserve any. She brushed back a curl of hair that had escaped the bun at the nape of her neck. Oh, I do kind of relate with this lady. She's just tired. I relate. With a glance over her shoulder, she added, let's see, what is it? Oof, my brain's not working. Letty Tia is on the warpath too. Letty Tia was the Barling's cook. Bad enough she was old and ugly that she scared the children, but she seemed to have something against Rebecca and would gleefully report any transgressions to Lady Barring. Oh, okay. I thought there was like a legit war about to happen. Yes, Edward said. Best I return to work. Here. He held out the candies again. If not for the children, then they're for you. Rebecca hesitated before taking the bag and thrusting them into her apron pocket. The children shrieked, and she turned. Oh, saints help me. The boy stood precariously on the shoulders of Zeus, threatening his sister with imaginary lightning bolts. William! She hurried to catch him as he fell. Far from being graceful, William abandoned his lightning bolts to strike at her with his fists. Edward watched for a moment, but Rebecca didn't look his way. She thrust his hands into his coat pockets and walked away. Or he did. He did that. Oh, man. I had a little bit of a romance for me. Oof, I don't know if I can read anymore. Oh, man. Reading late at night is very hard. It's always so much harder than I think it will be. Let me see if I can get a quick picture of some of these cards real quick to show you guys. Hang on. Oh, that would be nice. I'll get the BGM back on too. There you go. Alright. Get a little picture. Got the book covers and things. Oh, the bunch. If I get a chance later on, maybe I'll do a try and do a cool classical art. We'll do that. There we go, that's done. I'll give an example. There we go. Alright, I got a couple pictures. Let me pull them out to show you guys. Hoo-yah, hoo-yah, hoo-yah. Let's see. Come over here real quick. Have you guys heard that one song where it's like, it's been stuck in my head all day, where it's like, how's it go? Think you can stop what we do? I doubt it. We got the energy, we'll tell you all about it. Boom. I searched for my spark and I found it. Everybody in the crowd start bouncing. I got that stuck in my head. I cannot get it out. Alright, let me make sure these. Just gotta wait for these pictures to come over here. I am quite tired. Here we go. Think you can stop what we do? Doubt it. Got the energy, we'll tell you all about it. I searched for my sock and found it. Everybody in the club start bouncing. Okay. Oh, wait, I gotta download. Gotta download. Also, another song I should have thought of last night when we were karaokeing is from that random Popeye the Sailor Man movie. It was live action, and there's a song where Olive Oil is going to marry the other guy, Brutus, I think. And she's singing a song about him. And my favorite part is she sings like, and he's large, he's got money, and he's large. It's hilarious. I love that song. Think you can stop what we do about it. Got the energy, we'll tell you all about it. I think from the stock and I found it. Everybody in the club, stop dancing. I guess instead of club, they say crowd, but my like feels like it should be club in a way. That's what it always is. Alright, there we go. Let me pull it up in OBS. 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 Alright, there's one. And let's get another one. Ah, turned it. And this one. There we go. Alright. It's probably looking weird. Alright, let's see if I can adjust this. This is really large. Where is it at? Oh, no, come up here. It's stuck. There we go. Alright, this is the back. Kind of doing a little out of order. This one's for the back of the Cosmic Courtship. So see, you got a cool little description. The other side is the cover, and this has a cool little description. Little things about it. So that's pretty neat. And then we have, let's see if I can adjust this. Woof. Let's make it smaller. This one? Nope, not that. This one. You are so large. You must be small. A lot of ladies at the moment. Alright, let's see if we can turn this. There we go. That's much better. Ah, here we go. Alright, we'll just make this the screen for a second. Here is some very cool trading cards. Check them out. Check them out. Very cool, neat stuff. Kind of at a funny angle. You can see the cover for Star Wanderer there. This sort of cool reddish one. There's some kind of classical pieces there. Like the old lady with the ghost. Some other neat artwork. So on the one that's next to the Star Wanderer, it's like the bottom second to last to the right, I guess, where it's like the lady and the guy standing together. That's the Cosmic Courtship. Pretty neat. So here's the cool trading cards. I'm trying to remember how you get them. I'm drawing a blank. It is very pretty art, though. It's pretty sturdy cards too. Nice sturdy cards. So that's definitely a plus. Definitely a plus. Let's see here. Is there anything I'm missing? Alright, let's see. Okay, let's see. So, also, I will mention that you can get the Wild Stars card in the new Kickstarter we're running for the Golden Emergency. That's from Cirsova. Here, let me pull up the Kickstarter. People can also send self-addressed stamped envelopes if they want to set up those for the trading cards, I believe. So if
if you want self-addressed in envelopes. And then there's this address. Hang on, let me pull it up. Here, let me make this go away a second. I'll put this right here. Where'd it go? Where are you? There it is. Alright, here we go. Up here a moment. Alright. Hopefully you can see that. So if you want the trading cards, I think I'm reading this right. There's the address. You can send a self-addressed stamped envelope. So there you have it. And then let me pull up the Kickstarter to show you. That in a second. Let's see. And also the Star Wanderers cards will be sent out to the Kickstarter backers for the Star Wanderers, which will be out on Amazon on August 15th. So I'll also show that off. Let's see. The trading cards were sent out to a lot of the Cirsova Classics backers a few years ago, or we released the titles. I think that's when we got the Cosmic Courtship. It was very cool, very cool. That's pretty neat stuff. Cool little exclusives, kind of. I think I'm slightly delirious, doing my best. Let me pull up. This right here. Let me pull up the Kickstarter to show it off. Hang on. La, la, la. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. Let's see, where am I looking? There we go. Okay, here we go. Let me make it smaller. Alright, so here's the Kickstarter. Make it a little bigger. I'll just make it all big like that. There you go. Look at this a second. It is with the price of gold crashing, the Artemio Q's find a new backing for Earth's currency. Gems harvested from an endangered alien race. Dun 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 dun. So there you go. Welcome to the 40th anniversary of the world of wild stars. Thousands of years ago, mankind was led on an exodus to the stars by an immortal warlord from beyond our galaxy to save them from an alien-caused cataclysm. That makes me think of Ladybug. Those who remained and survived the attack became the ancestors of modern humans. Those who went into space became the wild stars. Following their return to our galaxy, Earth's wild star cousins observed and assisted in myriad crises, though largely from the shadows. As humanity took to the stars again on their own, it became time for mankind, the people of Earth, the space trekking transformers, and the wild stars to reunite as one race. The peace talks, however, were the target of a terrorist attack that led to the death of Iluk, one of the foremost princes of the wild stars. Ta-da! Ooh, some cool stuff there. I think it's a series. Alright. There's lots of backing.
kinds of stuff going on. Oh, cute. She seems fun. Oh, this one's one of the trading cards, this picture here. Yep, trading cards. Yep, a lot of the trading cards are here. A lot of them are from this series, it looks like. Some very cool stuff. Lots of neat little things. Look, it's like little coloring, drawing stuff. That one's funny. Poor guy. Just can't keep the ladies off. Don't be a simp. Say no to the thoughts. More backing stuff. So yeah, this is already funded. So that's excellent. It's showing up as yen. Can I change it? Make it easier to see. But it's definitely reached funding, so woo! But you still got 11 days. Ooh, dropped my phone. Still got 11 days to get on it and get some of the cool perks and help reach stretch goals and whatnot. So I'll add this one to the description as well. So there you go. There you go. Cool stuff, cool stuff, cool stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm a little all over the place. I might play around with different ways to help share these stories. I will be in Eastern time zone soon and hanging out with family and having more help, so maybe I'll be able to actually do some reading streams where I'm not like falling asleep while I read. That might be good. That could be fun. But let's see. What was it called? Yeah. Wild Stars, yeah. Wild Stars Kickstarter. Adding that to the description. There you go. There you go. You got 11 days. 11 days to hop on it if you want. So there you go. There you go. Got to read a little bit of the stories, give you a little taste of some of them. I'll probably finish them on my own. I might try to take a story. I'll try to take one of the stories and do like a full reading of it as possibly like its own video, maybe. Thinking about that. When I get time for it. When did it become 2:30? That's my question. When did it become 2:30? I am feeling the sleep debt. I think that's the end for me. I do think so. I got a lot to do this week. Lots to do. Who knows if I'll be around? I don't know. But you know what? It's all good. It is all daijobu. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Anyway, Salty is on. I believe he's doing like food. He's doing food stuff because he's a baker boy. I think he's doing meal planning stuff. So we will raid into Salty. I remembered the raid before I went to the ending screen, so good on me. Good on me. I'm proud of myself. Planning a week's meal. So yeah, he gets to he's planning some meals, so that's pretty good. Good inspiration for everyone's week coming up. I hope everyone's having a fantastic Sunday. It is into Monday now for me, but that's okay. I'm gonna go get some sleep. Thank you so much everyone for joining me. Thank you Cirsova for letting me have this material to read, and hopefully I can share some more of it or some reviews of some of the stories later on. That'd be fun. Maybe I'll read it on the plane ride. Maybe I will. We'll see. Maybe if the kids nap, so I'll probably nap. Anyway, all right. I will stop rambling now. Well, that's it from me. Thank you again for joining me. I hope you enjoyed these stories. I did my best. So, until next time, stay fresh, my friends.